Welcome on board to Sunday Bully Live. Tonight we are talking about how you can actually disengage your dog from being anxious, from being reactive, which in the training world is another phrase for aggression. Sometimes aggression can be too powerful of a word, and reactive is actually more precise. In reality, a lot of times people think that when a dog behaves bad or is reactive or is anxious or destructs parts of your furniture or even your home, you immediately think about training. It's the automatic thought that comes to your mind. When in reality, a lot of times there's something even more powerful than training that's actually executing these things in the background. What am I talking about? I'm talking about something called tryptophan. Okay, for those of you that don't know, tryptophan, you can say, is a precursor for serotonin. Serotonin is a calming chemical. It's a chemical in your brain that lets you know that everything's cool and chill. If your gut is not doing well, you're not going to have enough serotonin levels. If your gut is actually doing great, then your dog's going to have enough serotonin levels in its brain. And for a lot of you, it's going to be a surprise that 90% of the dog's serotonin that eventually ends up in the brain is not, or better yet, does not start in the brain. It's actually in the gut. And it basically, the gut signals to the brain, essentially, through tryptophan being the precursor of making serotonin. Now, I wish I can sit here and tell you that kibble, evil kibble is going to stop tryptophan from being able to be made into serotonin. And that's a particular ingredient. What you can't point the finger at a particular ingredient. You can, however, point the finger at various ingredients at the same time. And I'll get to that here in a second real quick. Shade Tree, good evening, everyone. Thank you for the education and experience. Nothing but love, Shade Tree. Thank you for coming on board. Adam Fields, good evening, Bully fam. What's going on, brother? Nothing but love. Appreciate you. So I prepared a couple of slides, and I want you guys to check it out. This one in particular is letting you know that, does dog food kill tryptophan? And I just mentioned no. No one ingredient truly kills tryptophan. But notice what it says to the right of that. Gut stress can steal the tryptophan path, right? So basically, when your dog, when his or her gut is healthy, then tryptophan has more of a probability or more of a chance of making it to the brain. And actually, not just making it to the brain, but getting to the brain and being transferred or being converted from tryptophan to serotonin. However, if you have a sick gut, as you can see in the illustration, it's just not going to happen, right? Inflammation in reality is what stops the tryptophan in the gut from making it to the brain. Various ingredients can create enough stress in the gut through inflammation and other things that it could stop this from getting to the brain. Why is that important? Well, I just dropped a video this week speaking about it. If your dog does not have the adequate amount of serotonin in the brain, he or she cannot regulate their response to stimuli. You ever seen a dog go from 0 to 100 over nonsense, over you just literally just walking by? A lot of times it could be, you could point the finger at an unbalanced diet that does not allow these processes to take effect. Think about it, all right? Dogs, they evolved from wolves. Wolves were not, you grab a wolf right now in any zoo anywhere and you start feeding it kibble. And I assure you that within a month, you're going to have yourself, I mean, they're already beasts, but you're going to have yourself a seriously wild beast in there. You just can't control in any which way. That's my point. Now, let me just show you this. Read the dog food label. These do not kill tryptophan, which I just mentioned, but they may add gut stress in some dogs, right? If you know more, you're going to feed smarter. This is all evidence-based, by the way. You can look it up online. The NIH, National Institute of Health, actually is able to say that they can predict your dog's behavior through their gut microbiome. Okay, that's really important because they're not saying your dog's breed, your dog's age, your dog's anything. What they're saying is they could take a look under a microscope what's going on in the dog's gut, and they can adequately project or predict, better yet, what your dog's behavior is like. Let me bring in my guy, Money Mike. Let me set things up here. Sorry, Money Mike. I was tinkering with a couple of things here before bringing you on tonight, man. And okay, here you go. Let me bring you on. What's going on, bro?
What's going on, fam?
Hey, man, we're talking about tryptophan tonight, and I'm talking about how dogs are not able to equalize their reactivity when the chemicals in their brain are not set right. Not only that, it's real easy to say, okay, well, I saw on your video that you said feeding, sardines and water and or turkey is going to give my dog more tryptophan. And this in part is true. But this is the reason why I encourage people, when you watch my videos, to also come onto the live, because here I got a little bit more time to kind of go a little bit more in depth and truly give you a little bit more of insight. Here's something that most people don't know and wouldn't understand by just watching that video. And that is that if you all of a sudden decided to just feed your dog, say, turkey and sardines, instead of fixing the problem, you can actually make it worse. I have an illustration. I want you guys to take a look at it so you could comprehend what I'm trying to get at. Because if feeding kibble can become a problem as far as creating inflammation in the gut, that's going to stop tryptophan from making it to the brain where it can be transferred or turned into serotonin. So too can you have a problem if you fed too much protein, right? Because amino acids, and that's what makes up proteins, what ends up happening is they can crowd out tryptophan, the lanes of tryptophan that tryptophan has to get to the brain. It could actually be crowded out because of too much protein. So this is why it's important to, listen through the whole thing and kind of figure out how to do it, right? Now, I don't know if you guys caught my video or not. I'm gonna say it again just so you guys could be aware. But my boy Champion Blueberry, who, by the way, what's going on, Bremen Bulls, Miss Inserata, what's going on, Adam Fields, Saint Keffer, yes. My boy Champion Blueberry, who, by the way, turns 2 today, right? July 5th, little old Blueberry right here. Right? Now, this was Blueberry in one of the first shows that he went to, and he looks phenomenal here. I mean, I love the stance. I love everything. But if you were to ask me what picture truly tells you who Blueberry is, that picture would be this one right here. That's who Blueberry truly is. Blueberry is a little mild-mannered dog. He's chill. He's not necessarily anxious to the extent where he gets aggressive or barks or want to growl or anything like that. But he gets anxious in that he is not a leader. He's a follower. He's a beta. He's not an alpha. So he's always looking for an alpha to do something first in order for him to follow. Problem, case in point, when he went into the ring, there were several times, this possibly could have been one of the times, I'm not 100% sure, that he was actually first in line. Think about it. This is a dog that's looking to the dog in front of him to let him know what it is that he's got to do at the time. And that was just kind of building up his anxiety. And sometimes even noises that were being made or things like that can actually distract him. So one of the times that he came back from the dog show, I changed his diet around. We did add turkey. We did add sardines as well. I mean, we were already adding it, but we had to give him more. So would you, Mike, if I told you that I actually had to feed more sardines to Blueberry and a little bit more turkey than I normally would you believe me? And if so, what would be the reasoning and why?
Well, different proteins do different things for different needs of dogs, depending on the circumstance, right? So
Well,
if you know, in case you're trying to encourage certain behaviors and dull down others, you may increase certain things in the diet. And
Mike, you're right. You're partially right. But the reason I had to end up giving more to him is because Blueberry is not just a pocket. He's an extreme pocket.
right.
He's got more muscle that is taking up, whatever you're putting in the gut because he's metabolizing.
Let his full potential kind of come out too.
Well, he's also metabolizing more. This is why bodybuilders have to constantly be eating, right?
Right.
Otherwise, they're going to go into catabolic mode, start breaking down fast, right? So this is the reasoning behind. So what I ended up doing was I went ahead and changed gears on Blueberry. How did I change gears? I was already feeding him sardines. I changed the protein source from chicken to turkey, which I know has more tryptophan. But there was one other thing, because if I only did those two things, okay, I would actually end up over proteinating him, if you will, or giving him more protein than he needed. And as you can see here, it would end up blocking the very thing that I want him to get more of. So the way that we did that was we added pumpkin, sweet potatoes, and oatmeal. Okay, so if you're questioning, oh, you're just saying that, no, we have a video. Go back on how I put 2.5 pounds of muscle on my dog. Look at the video, right? It's already there.
No,
right?
it was almost 12 pounds of muscle.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about 2.5 pounds per week. That's what we were shooting for. No, you're absolutely right. At the end of the day, I ended up adding 12 pounds. And what's funny
like 11.6 pounds or something.
Yeah,
I forget.
what's funny is I had to bring it down because he started walking around like RoboCop. And I was like, oh, no, we can't do that. But my whole point is we were able to do it. We added small amount of complex carbohydrates, not rice, not potatoes, okay? Complex, sweet potatoes, pumpkins, oatmeal. These were the types of carbohydrates we added. The other thing we added, which was a must, is vitamin B6 and magnesium. Now, don't sit here and ask me, well, what are the amounts of magnesium and B6? I'm going to tell you this right now. I can't sit here and talk dosage. I'm not a veterinarian. If I come out here and tell you to give your dog X amount and it's not the right amount, then you're going to point the finger at me. So you could either research online or you can do as we do, which is we feed NuVet and NuJoint DS. And one of the reasons that I feed NuVet is because it takes the entire dosage and guessing game completely out of the picture, right? Tryptophan, serotonin building block. Vitamin B6 helps the body use tryptophan. Brewer's yeast is a natural source of B vitamins, which are going to give you nerve support. And papain, which I've been talking about now for 2 years, and alpha amylase helps break down food for easier digestion. Remember I said, if you got inflammation, you're going to have issues with the absorption of the nutrients. Therefore, you need, whether you like it or not, you're going to need something that's going to help the digestion. But it doesn't stop there. And the reason this doesn't stop there is because the inflammation of the gut is what actually stops this tryptophan from getting to where it needs to. And that's where that MSM, where you see there, help support a healthier inflammatory response. You also have glucosamine and chondroitin, which are going to help, obviously, your dog's cartilage, help protect the cartilage, and also help the cushioning. But if you look at the very last one, vitamin C is an antioxidant support for tissue health, which is also going to increase absorption. So you get an increased absorption already from NuVet. Then you turn around and you have your own absorption of the anti-inflammatory support in NuJoint DS. This is why it's important that you use both, whether you're trying to deal
They work
with
together
yeast.
very well.
Yeah, whether you're trying to deal with yeast or you're dealing with dog behavioral problems or you're dealing with your dog limping because he or she is older, this is the reasoning, guys. You have different ingredients in each particular bottle that together work synergistically and give your dog what it needs. Now, with that being
Good
said,
luck getting your dog all that without for $1, just over $1 a day. If you're trying to do this the old-fashioned way and you want your dog to have those proportions of all those things, good luck getting it for $1 a day. That's the thing about NuVet. You're never going to be able to manually add these supplements to your dog's diet for that price. You're just not going to be able to do it. And then to balance it perfectly, you're not going to be able to do that either. You might, but it's going to be a lot of work, and it's going to be a lot more expensive than a little over $1 a day. That's for me one of the biggest selling points with NuVet, and why we use it here, because
absolutely, it takes the guessing game out, bro. Whether you're fighting yeast, where you're trying to get your dog to get full nutritional support, whether you're trying to fix behavior. You know why I brought up this entire thing? I know I've spoken about blueberry, and I gave you guys a story on blueberry, but in reality, about 6 to 8 months ago, so right now it's July, so I'm lying to you, about 9 months ago, and we're looking at roughly September, October of last year, I had a guy hit me up and, asking me all these dog trainer questions. And so I asked him, I started asking him, what do you feed your dog? So he tells me, he said, oh, no, man, I feed my dogs nothing but protein and protein and protein and protein. And I was like, okay, are you feeding them a supplement? No, I just do the barf diet and whatnot. And, on occasion I will feed liver. And then I explained to him why we don't feed liver. My whole point with him was, listen, your dog, based on what you're telling me and based on what you're feeding, may have, not guaranteeing anything, but it all may come down to the diet. Now, think about it, man. Think about it. There's a reason why world athletes change their entire diet around. And it's not just, for the muscle and whatnot, also for the mental side of things. If you have a dog that you're feeding something that's taking their mental edge out and their regulation out, then it totally affects their behavior. And if it totally affects their behavior, then in reality, do you need dog training? Dog training is not going to make your dog stable mentally. It's not. If your dog has a chemical imbalance in the brain because of the diet that you're putting in, there's nothing a trainer can do. In fact, I have a friend that's a trainer down in South Florida. You send a dog to him, first thing he does is he puts them on what they're feeding. That's it. That's the reason behind it. You have a dog that you're feeding corn, you're feeding wheat to, you're feeding these things to, and then you want to know why the dog's not behaving the way it's supposed to, then, you're shooting yourself in the foot if you're thinking that trainer is going to fix your dog. Because you send the dog to my friend and he changes the diet over, and all of a sudden the dog stabilizes and starts behaving well. When he comes back to you, you start feeding the wrong thing or the lack thereof, and you create the same issue you had before. And then you're sitting here thinking, these damn trainers, They're not here to train or nothing. They're just there to take my money. And the whole time is, listen, the problem is a little bit deeper than just your trainer. Trainer's great. I'm not telling anyone to not train their dogs. By all means, that's a great thing to do. But first, calibrate your dog's chemistry before you do that. Trainer may do that, but he sends them back to you and you throw them out of whack. Inserata's saying, I heard old school pit breeders talking on shows about hot meats versus cooling meats to do with behavior. And I never got what they were talking about, but maybe they intuitively knew something. Now, let me say something. So it's partly a myth, and then at the same time, it's actually partly true. It all depends where you're standing in the room and when it's being said. So a long time ago, I was told that when you feed dogs raw meat, this came from a pit bull breeder. When you feed dogs raw meat, they become more aggressive. Really? At the time, I'm like, really? How does feeding a dog more meat that makes them more aggressive? He or she could not explain it. Okay, and I say he or she because he and his wife were running the show and they were telling me this. And they couldn't explain it. It was just a matter of, man, look, there's not a pit breeder, surrounding my area that doesn't feed their dogs raw because we've seen it. So you already know. The minute you tell me like that and you can't explain it, I'm not going to completely disqualify you, right? It's almost in our nature nowadays that when people can't explain something, we immediately disqualify. Well, there's pit bull breeders that have been breeding pit bulls for 30, 40 years. If they tell you that they see in raw meat an increase in whatever type of behavior, why not do a little bit of research and see whether what they're saying can or cannot be true, right? A lot of times we rather take the path of least resistance and say, well, if you can't explain it, then we won't believe it. So with that being said, I did my research, and that's when I started finding about tryptophan, right? And the gut. This was years ago. I was not in a point in time where my platform was solely based about diet at the time. In fact, had I brought up diet at that point, I probably would have had maybe 100 views, if that, because people wanted me to talk at that time more about, breedings and bloodlines and that sort of thing. But that was something I came across years ago. So what you're talking about in Saratha kind of fits in to what I'm telling you was told to me years ago. And the fact of the matter is, a lot of people say, well, when you feed dogs raw meat ignorantly, because they don't know the why, they're just shooting something out their mouth. When you feed a dog raw, you're only making them more aggressive. Their ignorance is what makes that statement untrue, but technically they're right. But they probably don't even know why. And the reason why they are right is because of this right here. And what happens, like I mentioned earlier, these are all amino acids that make up protein. And what they do is they pretty much create traffic so that tryptophan cannot get in large amounts into where it needs to get to, which is your dog's brain, where using vitamin B6, it could actually be converted or help to be converted into what it needs to be converted into, which is serotonin, which is what's going to calm your dog. That's what tells your dog, hey, be chill, everything is good. You see what I'm saying? So
that's why after Thanksgiving dinner, you're taking a nap on the couch because you didn't have too much turkey.
Well, let me tell you, man, turkey has so many benefits for dogs. Sleepy, it's funny you say that because this week, I went to Walmart and I seen that, the leftover turkey, I guess from Thanksgiving, or I don't know, prices were real low is what I'm trying to get at. And so I was actually thinking about, hey, you know what? I might just get me a turkey or two, chop them up and throw them in there. Now my dogs don't have what I don't feel my dogs have, any type of tryptophan, low anything. They're eating sardines on a daily. They're getting low carbohydrate foods. Now you guys do know that I lower low carbohydrate intake during the summer. And that's for other reasons, because I don't want my dogs to get yeast. Today, I don't know about your neck of the woods, Mike. Today was 96 degree here, 80% humidity. So you sit here and you start stuffing your dog.
We don't have the humidity y'all do. We got the heat.
Right. You start stuffing. Yeah, well, we do. So you start stuffing your dogs with carbohydrates, whether they're complex or not, stuffing them, you're going to run into a world of hurt. However, if you just a little piece of sweet potato, that's more than enough. Just 2 spoonfuls of oatmeal in a dog's meal that weighs 80 pounds. That's more than enough. You don't need to go over, at least during this summertime. And I do this every single year, because first year I was here, it was horrible, man. It was horrible. I was getting ear infection after ear infection. Vet was loving me. Every time I showed up, it was $150 a pop. And it was like, the same dog, they would get the ear treatment, and in 3 weeks she would have to go back in. And meanwhile, other dogs it was just not a good scenario. So that's why I made those particular changes. Now, yes, true enough, I do the things I got to do to keep my dogs away from getting yeast, but adding complex carbohydrates is important. Okay, not simple carbohydrates. So not rice, not potato. I'm not talking about that. Not bread. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about, sweet potato, pumpkin. I mean, these are complex carbs that you can use. Now, if you look at number 3 over there, it says L-tryptophan. Ask your vet first. I want you to look down below that where you have that caution triangle, and it says do not megadose, use dog safe amounts. I'm going to tell you guys this right now, man. Don't play around with tryptophan. Don't go buy L-tryptophan and be like, lucky you're going to get a bottle of this a week. Don't go mess around with that. You don't want to mess around with your dog's brain chemistry. You really don't. Please, if you're going to do that, by all means, you need to consult your vet and you need to do some research. If you want to do what I'm doing, which I'm just giving Nuvet NuJoint DS, I'm giving now I'm going to start feeding more turkey than I usually do, but I'm constantly feeding sardines, right? And, add yourself, some good fiber in pumpkin, sweet potatoes, and oatmeal. Again, I don't give all 3 at the same time. I'll either give a little bit of pumpkin or a little bit of sweet potato, or 2 spoonfuls of oatmeal is going to be more than enough. And here's what's crazy about what I'm about to tell you. I don't care how anxious your dog, separation anxiety. Yesterday was 4th of July. I should have taken a video so I could have made this live. I have my dogs running around in the yard during 4th of July. People are throwing up fireworks and making, the usual. And my dogs were fine. I didn't have a dog, hiding somewhere. My girl Aruba, who typically does not like thunder, she just, there's something about thunder that she wants no part of. Yesterday, fireworks was not something that was affecting her in any way. Now, the reason I say that 90% of your dog's behavioral issues that are dietary come down to this is because 90% of tryptophan, or better yet, 90% of the serotonin precursor is in the gut, while 10% is in the brain. Let that sink in for a minute. Your dog's gut has more to do with your dog's behavior than your dog's brain. Your dog's brain is nothing more than chemical reactions. Huh?
It's the same for us too.
Yeah.
You know that our gut has a lot to do with our brain's chemical makeup.
Yes, absolutely. We have a comment. Can you use NuVet if you're trying to prevent health issues down the road?
Yeah,
Yes, by all
I would say
means. This
absolutely.
is the reason why we've been using NuVet now for 3 years in my yard. Actually, I take that back. I keep saying 3 years, but we started in August of 2022. So we're
Yeah.
literally coming up on 4 years. And I can tell you from the coat being better to joints being better, behavior. Here's the thing, and I can't quote any particular person texting me this, but I can tell you every so often I'll get a text and people will tell me, hey, the coat's doing better, or, the joints are doing great. My older dog is walking around like he's young again. And I'll get, hey, like my dog's separation anxiety has improved tremendously, or my dog's barking a lot less. I don't know if it's NuVet or not. And this whole time, I would, at the time, my response was usually like, well, there could have been an unbalance based on what you were feeding to now giving them something that's bioavailable for them. I might have said that. More than likely, that's what I said. And the fact of the matter is that was actually true. Probably more true than I was thinking at the time, and definitely 100% on board with what I'm saying now. So that's what I got for y'all tonight. L-tryptophan, the gut, the inflammation in the gut. That's what's going to make your dog irritable. You got to keep in mind, you're dealing with a carnivore that their adrenal glands, you guys heard of adrenaline, right? That gives you that speed boost and all that good stuff. Well, predators, Mother Nature knows what it's doing. Predators have smaller adrenal glands than prey do. That's why rabbits could be chased by 10 wolves and it could outrun them, because the adrenal glands are just pumping. The same go with deer, right? But predators have very low adrenal glands. Essentially, what that means in the long run is when you expose prey to stress, they are more prepared for it, okay, hormonally, than a dog or a predator in general. Doesn't have to be a dog, could be a lion, could be a cheetah, could be a bear, could be us humans, right? Any animal that has eyes in front of them like we do is a predator. And so that's why, we're not meant to be under stress for long periods of time. And stress could come in so many different ways. It could be environmental. How? Simple. If I was to cage you, say, under the hot sun all day and the sun is hitting you, that could stress you, right? That stresses your body. If I was to put a speaker next to you and blast it with music all day long and you couldn't even sleep, well, that's environmental too. That's a stressor. If I put a dog next to you that intimidated you, right, and you were a dog, and for whatever reason that dog intimidates you, that's another form of stress. And also, if I'm feeding you inadequately and you're not getting what you need, then that's another form of stress, right? If I'm causing your intestines to inflame because this company needs to make $1 off of your dog, right? And you're over here loving the bag because it looks great and whatnot, but you're not reading the labels in the back, which, by the way, you want to make sure you're reading these labels, guys. Listen, there is no one particular ingredient, but look at the ingredients I'm holding in the picture. Chicken meal, corn gluten meal, wheat flour, soybean meal, any combination of corn, wheat, soy, in whichever manner they want to put it on there, that usually leads to gut inflammation in your dog. Same goes for BHA, BHT, and ethoxyquin. And here's the kicker, right? Here's the kicker, and I said it on my video. Mike, did you know that BHA and BHT, which are antioxidants, are actually derived from petroleum?
I did not know that. No.
Mike, this
They
stuff.
have to be derived from it, or in dog food they are.
No. They come exclusively. Do me a favor, Kyle. Do me a favor, Kyle. I want you to look up BHT and BHA, but I want you to look up what the NIH, the National Institute of Health, has to say about both, that they derive from petroleum. This is not me saying it, man. I'm literally paraphrasing what they're saying, but this is what they said. So think about it, man.
Mm-hmm.
You're feeding your dog freaking motor oil, precursors, antioxidants that come out of motor oil or petroleum, better yet, which is even worse because petroleum is closer to tar than motor oil is. Motor oil has already been refined, and that's included into your dog food. And that's
it's very interesting to me what's legal to even put into dog food. It's always blown my mind. And then, you know, you look at the other end of it, like what we've been on here for a while is, you know, people compare the American bully to bodybuilders, right? They're built like little bodybuilders. And if you think about it, anybody that spends a lot of time in the gym knows that it's very important what you eat. If you're going to get the gains that you're looking for, if you're going to have the muscle structure that you're hoping for, you're expecting to actually make progress and these things like that, you got to eat a certain diet, high protein with certain ratios to give your body what it needs. The American bully is very much the same way. It's got to have the nutritional backbone and the proper intake in diet to move forward, to gain the muscle mass that it needs, to have the movement, the brain function. These things are crucial in maximizing the potential of your dog.
Yeah, here's what Kyle's bringing up. The NIH classifies BHA as reasonably anticipated to be human carcinogen, while BHT is generally recognized as safe for food at regulated concentrations. Both are synthetic antioxidants used in foods and cosmetics to prevent oils from spoiling, but BHA undergoes stricter safety scrutiny. Key findings by the NIH and health agencies: butylated I always have a hard time. Hydroxyla. You seeing it there. The NIH's National Toxicology Program lists BHA as a carcinogen due to studies showing that high dietary doses cause stomach tumors in animals. Additionally, the EU and some advocacy groups have raised concerns that it may act as endocrine disruptor. So this takes things even further than what I had mentioned. The FDA actively reviews its post-market safety. BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene. BHT is generally not classified as a carcinogen by the NIH. However, some health organizations note that it may act as a respiratory irritant in industrial settings or as tumor promoter in extremely high animal doses. Current food supply, both chemicals are typically used in very small quantities to prolong shelf life. Okay, this is all great, Kyle, but I need you, Kyle, to look up NIH, BHT, BHA source. Does it come from petroleum? Ask that to the AI and let it answer it for you, because that's where it's sourced from. That's where it comes from. Crazy enough. And so, you know, when I first saw it, I'm not even going to lie to you, Mike. I've been doing this now for years. When I first saw it, I was like, how the hell did I miss that it was originally sourced from petroleum? Because had I known this years ago, I would have already been talking about it. Okay, so Kyle's bringing it. There you go. BHA, butylated hydroxyanisole, and BHT, butylated hydroxytoluene. Look at that. I said it right this time. Are synthetic antioxidants and chemical preservatives. They are commercially produced by refining petroleum, coal tar, and fossil fuel sources. Thank you, Kyle. Right? Thank you. And do me a favor. If you're questioning what you just read, do me a favor, look it up, the NIH itself. And I have it on my video, quoted exactly what was on there. So you know where I'm getting the source from is what I'm trying to tell you. Sykes Pup says, awesome info as usual. Oh, man, you got it, man. Number love. Adam Fields, how's Pedro doing, Hollywood? Oh, watch out. I like your new setup, Mike. Looks good. Yeah, man. Mike killing it over there, man. So, long story short, guys, how do you feel, those of you that are feeding your dogs that BHA, BHT that we're talking about, right? How are you feeling about your dog food right now? And if your dog is showing aggression, or better yet, the correct word is reactivity. If your dog is showing reactivity, if your dog is showing anxiety, if your dog is showing issues regulating a typical response where they normally wouldn't, go off the chain, all of a sudden they're going off the chain. Well, do you think that maybe feeding your dog some car oil, motor oil, wouldn't affect them? We just read it not only affects the stomach and irritates it, it also irritates the lungs, but it also irritates the endocrine system. So listen, it's messing.
I wonder, it's worth looking into. Go ahead.
No, go ahead, man.
Sorry, we got a lag between us.
Yeah, there's like a 1 second.
No, I was
delay.
just gonna say it's worth looking into. I wonder how much of just personality quirks with canines in general is linked to diet. Not just our breed, but just dogs in general. I wonder how much of, mental health issues that are dog related, that, things that dogs struggle with, anxiety, different types of things, aggression, things like that. I wonder how much of that is truly tied to their diet, because as we know, going through all these different kibbles and stuff, they're primarily, if you say like, what kibble is best for my dog? Your answer has always been, well, I don't believe in just feeding my dogs kibble. So it's because there's not really a good choice to pick from. There's some really expensive ones that are trash, some that are all right, but it's all denatured, And so at the end of the day, I would really, that's worth looking into, man. I'd like to know just how much of just personality traits that our dogs have that stigma of, whether it's our breed or another. Dogs will do this, dogs will do that. I wonder how much of that dietary.
Well, I can tell you this, Mike. I spoke with Angel when he took my boy Blueberry in the ring. I told him from the get, because I knew Blueberry, and you're talking about personality. Blueberry has a very chill, laid back, mild-mannered dog. He is not overreactive to anything, right? Typically. But think about it. Out of the blue, he's being raised here in my yard. No stress, because he's part of the pack. He's not an alpha, so he doesn't independently go do anything. He has to see another dog do it, and then he does it. There's nothing wrong with that. Not every dog is an alpha. That's just the bottom line. So for him, when he was put in the ring, now this is my take. Your guess is as good as mine. But my guess is that all of a sudden he's being put in a scenario that he's not used to. And rather than thriving at the time, he was faced for the first time. I was putting him, I guess, directly or indirectly, in a situation where there was going to be more anxiety. And therefore, he didn't perform well first couple of times he went in the ring. First several times he went in the ring. He would perform well. First of all, he never even performed well on the first shows. First show was always something that was more of a warm-up for him than anything else. He might have took a first here and there, but he just didn't go in there and dominate. He just didn't. And, I sat down and obviously I spoke to the handler. I spoke to Angel several times, Angel Severo, and he's like, man, I feel like he's got everything that the dog needs to have to get it. But, and so did I. But we both understood, Blueberry's, demeanor and way in doing things. So when he brought him back from one of the shows, I want to say back in March, maybe, I could be off by a month or two. I sat down and I said, you know what? I got nothing to lose. Let's experiment, right? What if it's the amount of tryptophan that he's not getting? Because I don't want to give him CBD for him to go in the ring like many breeders do. I think it's got more to do with the fact that maybe I've been feeding maybe more protein than I should have, and it could be affecting, the amount of tryptophan that he could be getting. And it turns out I made the dietary change. We put him, the video's there. We got oatmeal on board. We were feeding him beef, okay, sardines, sweet potatoes, not at the same time as the oatmeal, on separate occasions. And next thing you know, he goes into the last show that he went. He takes three first place in his class out of 4 shows, and then he picks up 3 majors in 1 show. But even greater and bigger than that, Angel himself, and I totally trust him and believe him. Not only that, I was watching the dog live. He's like, dude, it was a different dog. What did you do to this dog? And, I'm a firm believer that diet plays a major role in dogs.
100%.
I'm a firm believer in that. Whether it's the skin issue, whether it's the coat, whether it's behavior, it comes down to that, because, they come from wolves, within, for hundreds of millions of years, they evolved from wolves. We domesticated them. You could go back 1,200 years, 2,000 years, 4,000 years. What's that for 100 million years of evolution? Nothing. You could say we've been domesticating dogs for 30,000 years. It's still nothing compared to hundreds of millions of years of evolution. And then out of nowhere, you want to say this little bag is going to feed the dog. And then you don't even look at the label bag a lot of times. But if you do me a favor, if you're seeing any of these things and you're seeing behavioral issues, I can almost guarantee you that changing them, you will see a difference between 3 to 4 weeks in your dog's behavior.
And like I always say, same with us. It's the same with people, and people don't make that correlation often enough. Like if you're learning in your life that you're not eating the right things and it's affecting you, or maybe you've been training to get in shape and thinking you're like, I've been going to the gym for 18 months and I've lost 3 pounds and I haven't really changed composition at all.
Yeah.
Why haven't you? You're working, you're doing the work. So what's wrong? It's the diet. It's the diet. It's the same with the dogs. If your dog's like always tired, you're trying to work your dog, you can't even get good results. You're putting the time in, your dog's not participating right. It's got mental health issues, anxiety, different things, depression, different things. Yeah. Depression, clinical depression is marked by a serotonin level in the body. If a doctor says you're clinically depressed, it's because they've measured your serotonin and it's low.
That's it.
And so it's the same with the dogs.
So you're out here, you're right. And so you're out here eating sugar. Yeah, you're out here eating sugar out the yin yang, which is causing inflammation, which is tripping up your tryptophan, which is not making it up to your brain enough. You're probably low on vitamin B6 if you're eating just about anything. And you're now having regulatory issues with your brain, meaning you may overreact. You're not regulating your reactions as well as you may have thought. So when you hear bad news, and Mike, you hit it on the head. When you hear bad news, they're terrible news. They're life-altering news in your mind. And at the end of the day, it was only a $50 parking ticket, bro. It's not the end of the world. Chill. You know what I mean? And so, you hit it on the head, Mike.
Yeah, it really makes you think. It's really a deep subject. It really is. When you get into the diet of a dog, just like with us, man, I like the connection because people separate it, and it's the same thing. Dogs need different things than we do, but in the same way that your body is made up of what you feed it, it's the same with the dogs. It's very, very important to balance what the dog's nutrition needs. And we've said it on here a million times, and I believe it wholeheartedly. find me a better way to bring in all those different supplements and balance them for my dog's weight, for my dog's needs, better than you can do with NuVet and NuJoint. To me, I mean, I personally, I promote it because I believe in it. I've watched it work in my program, and I've also tried to do it the old-fashioned way and bring in all these things. And I'm telling you firsthand, it's a nightmare.
It's
a
crazy.
nightmare. If you meal prep out, it's your whole Sunday every week. Your entire day is to portion of these things, and you got chicken coming in and out of the fridge because it's too hot. It's been sitting out too long, and you're in this whole battle while you try to feed 15 dogs. It is a nightmare, and you won't do it long before you're like, oh, why am I even doing this? Yeah. So I can just tell you firsthand, it's terrible.
I do want to say this. And if you do decide to buy L-tryptophan directly, okay, do yourself a favor and check with your vet first. You got to realize that the stuff that's in these bottles has already been predetermined by veterinarians, pet nutritionists, scientists, the whole 9 yards is already there set up for you. If you do want to do it yourself, man, I still respect that. Just make sure you talk with your vet and you know what you're doing, because also giving too much of can turn around and give you a problem, and then stopping it all of a sudden. You can't do that when you're dealing with brain stuff, guys, because then you get a rebound effect, and then you could overcalm your dog, then you stop it all of a sudden, and it's almost like hitting the brakes and then hitting the gas again, and the dog now rebounds into full-blown aggression. So I'm just saying, make sure you contact a vet so that you don't put yourself and your dog in that position. So, Mike, what you got, bro, before we head on out tonight, man?
Man, that's it. This is a great show for me tonight. I've brought it up several times. You know, this is something I'm really working on in my own life, learning about what I'm putting in my body and how it affects my brain and just how it affects me physiologically. So, yeah, it's really important that I understand that for my dogs. It means the world to me that they get what they need, and then I'm not doing anything I shouldn't be doing. And I've really enjoyed diving into that these last few weeks, because just like for us in the gym, it is quintessential. If you're trying to, especially if you're showing these dogs, you're working your dogs, you're out here doing things, you're trying to, whatever it is, and give your dog optimal health. Dietary is huge. Like he said, more of the serotonin produced in the gut than in the brain. So, very, very, very important. And I'm glad we're on it. So
absolutely. We have Hydra OG. Do you have a written recipe that you feed Blueberry, or is it in a video I might have missed? Yep, you might have missed the video, man. I don't do written recipes, bro. I don't do anything the short way. It's either the long way or no way for me. Unfortunately, for some people, they miss it. I say unfortunate because if they actually saw it and seen it and they apply it on their dogs, it could actually be a winning formula. Definitely worked for me.
I'll tell you what, you made it. You took the stress out of me when I was first learning this from you, with making the barf diet, making raw diets and things like that. Your videos were really good because I was so obsessive about the proportions.
Right.
And you used to say a little of this, little of that. It's not the end of the world, fam.
It's not
the end of the world. Like, don't have to get this so precise that we're
not
sweating. Yeah.
We're not dealing with bodybuilders here. We're dealing with dogs, but you just got to make sure that you're hitting that little bit of this, a little bit of that on a consistent basis. You're absolutely right. If you went a gram over 2 grams, it's not the end of the world. It's not going to change everything. What will change, however, is if you continue feeding. So let me say this so you guys don't get the wrong impression, because I got written to, I want to say a day or two ago, and I had to break things down for someone. Just because I tell you to start feeding kefir to your dog in order to change the microbiome in the gut, just because I tell you I use NuVet in order to start the anti-inflammatory process, in order to help the tryptophan production, etc., does not mean it's going to happen in 10 days. You've been screwing your dog feeding kibble for the last 10 years or 5 years or 3 years or 1 year, and you're expecting for NuVet to turn all that around in 10 days, in 1 month. That's not going to happen, guys. Realistically, that's not going to happen. And I'm going to tell you this even further. There's nothing out there that's going to be able to change your dog's gut in 30 days. There's just not. It's a process, and you're going to have to work with it, and you're going to have to be consistent. That's just how it works. I don't think that the FDA would allow such irresponsible marketing, but if there was something out there marketing that it could change your dog's microbiome in 30 days and square it all away, I would strongly question that. And Sarata says, my boy had a similar personality to Blueberry. I guess he gets intimidated by shows and new things. Zero aggression, more goofy and sweet. This is correct. This is what Blueberry was pretty much doing. So the turkey might benefit him. Yes, it will. Just remember, it's not just the turkey. Excuse me. It's the turkey with the complex carbohydrate. It's the turkey with the sweet potato. And not too much sweet potato, just enough, just a little bit, right? And
should we show people how to look that up?
To look what up?
That video you made where you were putting Blueberry through that 30-day challenge, where you were trying to put 10 pounds on him, and how you did that. Would that help?
It can. Let me just get through these questions here real quick. Let me just answer Insaratha. So she's asking about the turkey, and I'm saying yes. But I'm saying also, look at number 1. You got pumpkin, sweet potatoes, and oatmeal. All you need is 2 tablespoons of oatmeal for an 80 or 100-pound dog. A good slice of that sweet potato, maybe 2 for an 80, 100-pound dog. And a thin little slice of that pumpkin. Puree it if you want to. If you want to cook it as well, that's fine. If you want to give it raw, that's even better. That's where the magic happens, along with the turkey and the sardines. Let me see here. The next comment, she says, he's getting sardines, but like 1 or 2 out of a can, not a whole tin. So I will say this in Sarata. Like I had mentioned earlier, Blueberry is extreme, right? There, he was a lot younger than what he is now. He just turned 2 today, literally. So when he came back from a dog show, what I did was I upped his sardines to a can. Why, Raul? Why would you give such a small dog a full can? Because that small dog might not be this picture, might be another one, was weighing 88 pounds. So he was sucking up everything. It was not enough tryptophan in what I was feeding, which was half a can. I went to a full can daily, okay, along with everything else, and he regulated. He was a totally different dog when he went into the ring. Now, Mike, let me go to what you were saying. You want me to go to that one video? Tell you what, I'll just.
Well, it never fails. I feel like people, especially our new viewers, may not know what a plethora of videos there are on any said topics. So,
well, Mike,
I always like to remind them on how
ask
to
and you shall receive, my friend. That's all I'm going to say. So let me go ahead and bring this up. Just a minute here. Just a minute. Bear with me. There we go. Let me go ahead and bring it up. Just lost you. There we go. All right. So there. Are you able to see it on your screen? Yeah, there you go.
Yes.
So this is the QBN homepage. So on the QBN homepage, right? That's what you're seeing, right? This is us over here right now on the live, right? So you go to the magnifying glass, and I remember the title off the top of my head. I can't remember the title. So add muscle. How about that? It should be under add muscle. And okay, so now we're going to get all the add muscle videos. Okay, Mike.
10 pounds of muscle in 30 days.
There you go. 10 pounds of muscle in 30 days. There you go, Mike. 10 pounds.
But even more to the point, those were all videos to
there you go.
To your dog.
So literally, this is the first video, right? Watch my dog bulk up in 1 month, and then Wait, which one was first? Oh, I take it back. This was first. How this dog gained. No, I take it back.
Yeah.
This was the first video. This is the second video after that. How this dog gained 2.5 pounds of muscle weekly. And in reality, Mike kind of let the cat out the bag. He really didn't gain 2.5 pounds weekly. He gained more than that because he ended up gaining 12 pounds of muscle in 30 days. So you can go check it out.
What I liked about this is Raul said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to put 10 pounds of muscle on my dog in 30 days. It's going to be this amount a week, and this is how we're going to do it. Go on this journey with us, right? And then at the end of the 4 weeks, it was actually almost 12 pounds. And so
no, it was more. It was actually, yeah, I could be wrong. Off the top of my head, I think it was 12.6 pounds. I could be wrong.
I couldn't remember if it was 11.6 or 12. Yeah, but yeah. So
or it could have been 11.6.
It exceeded even the expectation.
Yeah, it was just crazy. And honestly, it was too much for the dog.
But amazing to know that just those adjustments in diet were able to put a dog that was already grown into that much more muscle in 30 days. That's a big deal.
Well, I have to differ from your statement only because he wasn't already grown. He just turned
he's under 2, but
yeah, he just turned 2 today.
But at any age, 30 days.
Yeah, 30 days I put it on.
It's not a difference in life cycle, right?
Right. Hey, it is what it is, but it also goes to show how diet can affect these dogs in so many different ways. And if you're able to master that, and to master it is not, oh, I need a food scale and we gotta get it down to the gram. That's BS, man. You just got to be consistent. You got to know, okay, connect the dots like we connected it today for you. You need, you're going to need tryptophan, right? Which is going to come in turkey and you're going to find it in sardines and you're going to find it in those 2 are the main ones. But then you're also going to need, look at number 2, vitamin B6 and magnesium, right? You're going to need it because vitamin B6 is what's going to help convert tryptophan into serotonin. But you're also going to need number 1. You're going to need small amounts of complex carbohydrates. If you don't do it in that manner, you're going to mess yourself up. If you want the guessing game to be taken away from you, make sure to get NuVet and NuJoint DS. Each one has a different mechanism of action that helps you get there. I'm going to bring my dude from the back, Holly Wizzle. Let me see what's going on. What's up, Hollywood?
What's up, brother?
Hey, Hollywood, man. Start us up for the night, bro.
It's your boy, Hollywood Holland, your boy in the back of the queue. We're catching you on the next one. Oh,
Michael H. Let it drop, man.
Michael Higginson, man, out of Arkansas. Your co-host with the most. We'll be catching you on the next one.
Hey, you already know this is Raul from the Q. We're going to be doing this every Sunday at 8 p.m. Do yourself a favor and tune in. We are solving a lot more issues than a lot of other people are throwing out there, not because we're trying to impress you, but because we've actually experienced it and we've been dealing with it. Be Raul from the Q, and I'll be catching you next Sunday at 8 p.m. CST.
We are going for a whole hour, straight dog talk, and the song. Jump on in and speculate. Show up on time, don't be weak and late. We are community, so don't hate.